I helped a client of mine cash collect 150K in the last 60 days, and today I'm going to show you exactly how I did it so you can just copy me. Today I'm going to show you the complete acquisition systems that take strangers to high ticket clients. The problem most coaches struggle with is inconsistent lead flow. They might have great content but terrible sales processes. They might be great at selling but have no back-end systems to scale. With all the three players working together, you are leaving massive amounts of money on the table. So at the end of the video, you will have a content system that attracts qualified prospects on autopilot, a sales system that converts leads into clients at scale, and a back-end system that scales everything predictably. So first, let's go into the content ecosystem. You need to build a system that consistently attracts and nurtures prospects without you having to constantly chase after new leads. So how we did it is we used the 40-40-20 content split. 30% top of funnel, 40% middle of funnel, and 20% bottom of funnel. Most of people do this wrong. They either post too much top of funnel, but then can't convert anyone, or they post too much bottom of funnel and then the audience burns out. What is top of funnel content? Top of funnel content has only one purpose. It's awareness and attraction. Think of these as a fishing net. You're casting wide to catch as many relevant people as possible. For example, these include how I made X amount of dollars with dropshipping, how I went from skinny to fat in 30 days, and broad appeal topics that anyone in your target market will find interesting. The key is that these don't require any prior knowledge of your business or industry. The goal isn't to sell anything in these videos. The goal is to get curious viewers into your ecosystem where you can nurture them with your other content types. The other content types are, for example, your middle of funnel content. Your middle of funnel content builds credibility and filters serious prospects. People who engage with this content are already interested in your space and want to learn more. This includes, for example, case study breakdowns, tactical deep dives, process reveals, strategy explanations, all that stuff. These videos require prior knowledge or interest in the topic. Middle of funnel content serves two purposes. They build massive trust because you're giving away valuable information for free, and second, they qualify your audience because only people who are interested in your services will actually watch a 40-minute breakdown. And then last, bottom of funnel content. Bottom of funnel content converts warm prospects. Examples for bottom of funnel content will be student testimonials, transformation stories, or your personal journey. The goal is to get prospects to book a call or apply for your services. But you need to remember, only post this type of content if you've already posted middle and top of funnel content. Because if you post bottom of funnel content but didn't build any goodwill with your top of funnel content or your middle of funnel content, they just won't buy, because first, you didn't even attract them or build awareness, and second of all, you didn't build any credibility or trust, and you didn't even qualify them. So you only post bottom of funnel content after you posted enough of top of funnel content and middle of funnel content. Now the platform strategy. Most coaches only post on IG, but that is so fucking stupid. When people on Instagram, they are not actively looking for solutions. They're just scrolling down the For You list, looking at all the brain rot, and then out of nowhere your content comes up, and then they see, alright, that's interesting, maybe I'll see more, but they're not looking actively for solutions, so they're also not actively buying. But the YouTube is different. On YouTube, they're actively looking for solutions. They don't just scroll and then see a video and watch it. No, they go on YouTube and search, for example, how can I make money, how can I lose fat, all that stuff. So YouTube is the trust builder and the foundation of everything. There's also the study that says it takes an average of 7 hours of content consumption before someone makes a purchase. So how do you want to get people to watch 7 hours of your content on Instagram? That just isn't possible. But also think about it. If someone watches 7 hours of your content, they feel like they know you personally. They trust your expertise because you've demonstrated it repeatedly. So you need to focus on educational breakdowns and case studies on YouTube. These perform best for high-ticket client acquisition because they demonstrate your competence while building relationships. But you need to create content that appeals to different stages of awareness. You need to post videos for people who don't know the problem exists, top of funnel content, they don't have any prior knowledge. Then you need to post videos for people who know the problem but don't know the solution, middle of funnel content, you show your expertise, alright? And then videos for people who know the solution but don't know you're the person to help them implement it, bottom of funnel content. For example, client testimonials. And then Instagram is our converter and relationship builder. Instagram is still a big part in the client acquisition system, don't get me wrong, but it only serves as the converter. So the Instagram strategy revolves around DMs, stories, and feed content, for example, reels and carousels. For the stories, you want to have a 7-day framework. On Monday, we want to post a CTA with a lead magnet. This can be a guide, this can be a free PDF, just something that provides a lot of value to your audience. On Tuesday, we want to post value. Wednesday is a personal day where we just post something personal to build trust with our viewer. On Thursday, we share wins from our students or clients. On Friday, we post another soft CTA, not as hard as on Monday, but still a soft CTA to get some leads in. And then Saturday and Sunday, it's lifestyle content to build again the trust. Your Instagram Reels serves as lead magnets and mini lessons. Your Reels should always have the CTA, whether it's commenting a keyword or DMing you or maybe following you. It should always have the viewer do something. And then the DMs are where the actual relationship building happens. For example, the prospect asks questions, they express interest, and then book calls. This is the most important part for the client acquisition system. So either get a good setter or get good at DM setting. Alright, next is content tracking, because most people don't do this. But you need to track which content actually generates revenue, not just views or engagement. So what we do is we track revenue per YouTube video using a custom dashboard which shows us exactly how much money each individual video has generated. Because if you don't do that, you might be creating content that gets a lot of views but never converts to paying clients. Or you might stop creating content that doesn't get as many views but consistently converts. What we also do is we measure story engagement and conversion rates on Instagram. Which story sequences generate the most DMs? Which calls to action get the most responses? Which personal content builds the most goodwill? The goal is to identify patterns in your highest converting content and then create more of it. Alright, this is the whole content ecosystem. Next, we go into the sales system. This is where most people lose money because they don't have a proper system set in place. So let's talk about the sales funnel. Your landing page has 4 critical components. First, you need a clear value proposition for your target market, so communicate who this is for and what transformation they will receive. So for example, for my client, we did attention fitness coaches stuck under 10K per month. This is how I went from 0 to 60K per month with fitness coaching. Learn how to generate high paying clients in 12 weeks. You know, it's a clear value proposition for a target market fitness coaches stuck under 10K. We communicate who this is for, fitness coaches, and then what transformation they will receive. Learn how to generate high paying clients in 12 weeks. And then second, a video sales letter explaining the transformation you provide. This isn't really a pitch, genuine value that demonstrates your expertise while showing what's possible. And then third is an opt-in form asking for name, email, phone number, funds, and current state. For the opt-in form, I will make it too long because every question you add adds more friction to the process of getting the client to book a call. So what I only do is name, email, phone number, funds, and current state. You can see that, so they see that, they watch the video, and below the video is the form, they fill it out, and then they get on the booking page or application. Let's talk about the application and qualification process, because this is a mistake most coaches make. They either let anyone book a call, which leads to terrible conversion rates, or they make the application so difficult they qualified prospects don't complete it. So if you can see here, what I do is please select the best option that describes your situation. Are you currently working with clients? If they say no, then please fill the following, so personal information. If yes, what is the monthly revenue in the business right now? And then how much capital are you currently willing and able to invest? When they have more than $500, they can book a call and then they get set to the pre-call nurture sequence. When they have less than $500 to invest, they get sent to the DQ page. As you can see, although it might not be the best fit for you right now, I still want to help. Sign up for my email list in the meantime to start learning more about how to grow an online coaching business. So they get disqualified and then get sent to an email list where you can downsell them later on. For your calendar booking strategy, only allow bookings 3 days in advance maximum. This is important because if you have it set up for like the whole week and people book at the end of the week on Monday, then they're going to forget about it. They're going to forget about why they booked the call, what was the motivation behind it, and the motivation that they had on Monday will maybe be gone on Friday or Saturday. So you need to only allow bookings 2 or 3 days in advance. And then also set up automatic redirects to your confirmation page immediately after booking. But this is what we are going to talk about here now, the pre-call nurture sequence. This is the most important part of the whole sales systems. So the post-booking page. That is the first page the prospect sees after committing of a call. First, we need to include a clear instruction for calendar acceptance so they see the meeting in their calendar and they don't forget it. Second, you need to create a post-booking video. You need to answer frequently asked questions, handle common objections, and show case studies and set expectations. And then below the video, you add social proof, for example, client testimonials, client transformations. And after that, it's an email nurture sequence. After they book a call, they need to get added to the email nurture sequence. And the emails should cover 4 categories. First, you need to answer questions. Answer every question prospect might have about your process, results, or offer. Second, you need to handle objections. Address every concern that might prevent them from moving forward. Third, case studies. Show examples of people like them getting results. Fourth, second layer questions. These are follow-up questions that arise after you've answered the initial questions. For example, if someone asks how much time does this take, that's a first layer question. After you answer, for example, 3 hours per week, they'll have a second layer questions like, what am I doing during those 3 hours? Or when during the week should I schedule this time? So most people only answer first layer questions, leaving the prospects confused and less likely to show up or buy. So this is the exact email sequence I run for my client. So when they book the call, they get a confirmation mail. Then we wait 2 hours before the call, they get a reminder. And then 20 hours before, they get an email handling some objection and client testimonials. So what we saw with my client, for example, is the most objection that we got were price objections, time objections, and just skeptical about the offer. So what we did is have one email for time objection with a client testimonial, a price objection email, and then a skepticism email, which is of course a client testimonial. And then 12 hours before, we had another reminder and answering some questions. 6 hours before, we have another objection handling client testimonial email, and then 1 hour an hour before, we had the reminder while setting expectation. For example, you need to be in a quiet room with good lighting, with a good microphone, all that stuff. Next is team management and optimization. If you grow your business to a certain extent, you will have team members, and you need to track the performance of them. So for each sales reps, be it seller or closer, you need to track the show rate, the close rate, the disqualification rate, the revenue per rep, calls per day, working hours, and many more stuff. But this is the basic stuff. And then you need to make improvements in the sales system based on these metrics. And then you also need to create accountability. You need to have regular team meetings to keep everyone accountable, motivated, share performance metrics transparently, celebrate wins publicly, but address problems privately. Don't address it in front of the group. Make it private, so it's only between you and your sales rep. All right, let's go into the backend systems. This is the part that most of you neglect because it's just too complicated, but you need to have it. First, let's talk about CRM and automation architecture. For lead flow management, whenever a lead comes in, it should automatically enter your CRM pipeline with proper source checking. So where exactly did he come from? What video did you watch? All that stuff. And then you need to set up automated SMS and email confirmations for every step of your process. Also, create a Slack or Discord notification for instant follow-up. So for example, what we have is when a new lead comes in, he has budget, but he doesn't have a lot of budget. We get a notification on our Slack, and then the seller can call him and just vet him again for his funds. So if he has enough and he really wants to do it, he gets on a call. If he doesn't, then he gets DQ'd and sent, for example, to an email page. We don't send him later on. And then API integration and webhook architecture. This is the most complicated part, but this is really the heart of the business. Because, for example, our system connects dozens of tools for custom API integration and webhooks. Let's take the type form, for example. If someone completes the type form, it creates a contact in the CRM, it adds them to the email sequence, it sends us a Slack notification, and it sets tasks for the setters. So the setters exactly know what they have to do. Another example is when the payment is processed, it updates the customer status in the CRM, it triggers an onboarding sequence, which creates client access, and it schedules the first call, and it notifies to the team. So the team's on all right, the closer just closed someone, the payment got through, we need to get him into our group, all this stuff, so the team knows their task. So this little automation means our team can focus on high value activities instead of manual data entry and task management. And then team management and operations. When you get new team members on, you need to create comprehensive training materials for everyone in your organization. For example, that includes a backend specialist, an editor, a copywriter, your setter, your closer, your VA. So you need to have process documentations, video tutorials, checklists, and mentorship programs. The goal is to get new team members productive as quickly as possible. And then you also have to have a communication system. You need to establish clear communication protocols. How often does the team meet? What information needs to be shared daily versus weekly? What's the escalation process for urgent issues? You need to have something for every situation so your team members know exactly what they need to do, because if they don't, then mistakes happen. Next is metrics, tracking and optimization. You need to create a dashboard that shows all your key performance indicators. This includes lead generation metrics, conversion rates, revenue figures, team performance, etc. And then you need to review this dashboard weekly. Are conversion rates declining? Is one traffic source performing better than others? Or is one team member struggling, for example? And then you can make weekly business reviews. You hold weekly reviews to analyze performance and plan improvements. What worked well this week? What didn't work? What will you test next week? And then you make the decision based on facts, not feelings. And then you need to make continuous optimization. You need always test and improve. For example, A/B test your opt-in pages, your email sequences, your sales scripts. Document what you've learned so don't repeat failed experiments. So this is the whole client acquisition system that I've built for my client and that we follow to make 150K in 60 days. If you want me to implement this system for you as well, book a call in the link below for a free consultation and I will see if I can help you, and if I do, we can work together.